It's 91X Marty and Danielle, along with Andrew McMahon. He and the band today going to be performing at Humphrey's by the Bay, a great little venue. Mm-hmm. Awesome place to play, especially if you've got a piano in the band, because it's by the shore and it just travels in the open air. I mean, we really do love it. Hey, good morning, Andrew.
Good morning to you guys. It's good to see you all.
It's great to see you too, sir, man. It's been a while, and I'll say how long it's been since you and I have sat down and really had a candid conversation. 2002, Vans Warped Tour, somewhere in Virginia, north of Washington, D.C. You are an up-and-coming guy with songs like I Woke Up in a Car out there for everybody to hear, love, and enjoy, right? Those early days of being in something corporate. And I have a microphone, and I sit with you right there, and I'm like, look at this guy. He's like, he is the non-rock star. You were finding your voice there. And there was even a moment where I'd ask you a couple questions. You're like, actually, I want to answer that in a longer detail. And boy, did he just run some thoughts together. This is the mind of a piano player, right? You were at that Warped Tour.
I was in Denver, and I was about 15 years old and was front and center watching something corporate, losing my mind because I was exposed to you on the Drive Thru Records DVD that I watched over and over and over. So I was like, these guys look fun in this DVD, but is this for real? And sure enough, you guys delivered, and I've been a fan now for 20 years of you, the band, everything you do.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, yeah, that was sort of the beginning in a way. I mean, we had been on the road for a while before then, but that tour, I think, is like where we really cut our teeth, and we had a lot of good bands around us that we had to, all of a sudden, the bar was set a lot higher all of a sudden. We had to figure out how to do it.
And you've covered this story many, many times. Like, you're the piano band at the punk show.
Totally.
I mean, how did that go over? I mean, years later,
it's so funny because I think when I talk to people who were at those shows, they're like, you guys were amazing. And, like, there's this energy, but, from where we were sitting, it was like combat every day, because we would, especially in the early shows before people, like, the word spread pretty quickly as we got to the end of the tour. The band was already bigger by the time we finished the tour, but at the beginning of it, I mean, we'd be playing to a sparse crowd that was half hecklers and people throwing stuff at us, so yeah, it was amazing. It was like my first tour bus, and it's pretty depraved and deprived living, but you love it, It's amazing to be on the road.
And you were cutting your teeth. I mean, totally. You were just so wide-eyed in those days. And now, how far we've come. You're 39 years old. You've been over the hill and back with some health stuff, and here we are, and more health stuff in this world. And we appreciate you wearing the mask, and we totally get that. And you got to stay safe in this damn world. You got shows to do, and people got to get fed. You know what I mean? Including your kid, who Danielle says you've been reading Harry Potter to.
It's
yes.
True.
Andrew, I've been following you on Instagram, especially during the pandemic. It was so cool to see that you just look like a rad dad. What was like the highlight of hanging out with your daughter during all of this?
I mean, we just had so much time together. I'm obviously, with what I do, I'm always on the move and traveling, and so it was like the first time that I've had such a concentrated amount of time to spend with her. So I read literally every word of Harry Potter out loud, which was wild. You know what I mean? And we hung, we played music, we did puzzles. I mean, it was like kind of like the geekiest sort of quarantine you can imagine. But yeah, we definitely got in our groove. It was sad to get on the bus the other night, like after having been home with her for so long.
For all the Harry Potter fans out there, what house do you guys belong to?
Obviously, we're Gryffindor.
Right.
Come on now.
Now, our people tell us you live just north of here. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm not far at all. I'm just San Clemente.
Yeah. So, do you do a lot of beach time then? You get some beach time?
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of convenient that I had taken up surfing like a year and a half or two before everything went down, so it gave me a lot of time in the water. So yeah, I'm at San Onofre most mornings.
So Danielle is a little bit of a fangirl here, right?
I can't help it at all. I actually text my friends from high school last night, and I was like, "You'll never guess who's coming into the studio tomorrow," and they're like, "What?
Yeah.
What?"
That's amazing.
Very exciting. I also want to say that leaving through the window still slaps. I listened to the entire album not too long ago, and I was like, "This is still fantastic."
That's awesome. I appreciate that.
And I still know all of the words. I can't get the sponsors right on things, but let me tell you, every single word to UC Jordan.
There you go.
I also would say that she probably called her friends because she wants to show off. She's a little. Yeah, that's what's
You
happening.
gotta do it.
Yeah.
It's the joy of having a job. You know what I mean?
You have to tell your story a lot of times because there's been so many ways around and how you've had multiple bands, you've had trials with your health and stuff like that. Now you're a dad, so I have a feeling, and you may tell me this is absolutely wrong, stupid DJ guy. You've written a book. Is this because your story has so many turns and twists, and you have to like get people caught up because you went away for a little while and you came back, right? Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a way for me to organize my thoughts. Truthfully, I had toyed with this idea of telling sort of the story of my life so far through the lens of my pianos. This idea, these conversations with the pianos that have sort of followed me through my life, and and I had teed that up as a possibility and started working on a deal for that, and then COVID hit, and then I remember my wife, like the morning we were first locked down, she's like, "This is the time. Like, you're never gonna have another window
Here's
of
your
time
new project.
where you can do this."
And your wife put it on you.
Yeah, and so I did, and it was amazing. Like to sort of to really kind of lay it all out, and see the patterns of your life and where why you do the things you do. I mean, it really it was good. It was good art therapy for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad to have it done because now I don't have to remember all those things because they're all living in one place now. I can move on to the next thing.
3 Pianos, a memoir is what
Yeah.
you're calling it, right? And
That's
it's
right.
out here in October. And
Yeah.
it's how long did it take you to make and
It was
write?
about a year.
A year.
Yeah, I mean, I think all in, I started in, it's so funny, I don't even know what time is anymore. But yeah, I started early versions of it around the beginning of 2020, but really in earnest in like March of 2020. And then, yeah, I mean, it wrapped it up this past summer.
Yeah, and you just Stream of Conscious wrote and then went back and did revisions. There's a lot of styles.
Yeah, so what I did, because luckily I had the form of knowing that I was going to write about these 3 pianos. So I kind of wrote like these long form essays. There were these conversations with the piano. And in that, sort of baked into those conversations, it was like, okay, well, these are the themes that are kind of emerging. And so I just kind of drilled into it, and I would just sit down 6 hours a day in my studio, and I just write without stopping, and I'd go back and edit, and yeah, it was crazy.
It's such a problem. Did your wife get involved? Did she help you proofread and stuff?
She helped. Yeah, she was really helpful, and then I had an amazing publisher who I would every time I finished sort of one of the books, because I just wrote them in order, and I would send it off, and then we went through like a pretty long process of refining it after that.
These 3 pianos, they still in your possession?
Yeah, so I have one of them is on stage with me tonight. Piano number 3, piano number 2 is in my studio at home, and then the first piano, which was the one I grew up playing, lives in my agent. He's since passed, but his daughter plays that piano.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So family has the piano. That is so awesome. You are a guy good on the outside and inside. You've got the Jack's Foundation?
Yeah, Dear Jack Foundation.
Dear Jack Foundation. Tell us about that. That is some charity that you're working
Yeah,
on.
so I started it on the heels. I recovered from a leukemia diagnosis. I had a stem cell transplant in 2005, and we just saw this huge gap in young adult cancer. So there are people 15 to 39 years of age are the most under-researched demographic of cancer patient out there, yet it's the #1 disease killer of young people. And so we build programs that are specifically targeted at that age bracket that is so underserved. So we do kind of a wish granting program called the Life List, where people sign up and we sort of walk with them through their treatment. We work with them and their families to give them things to look forward to throughout their treatment. And we also do another program for couples that have made it to the other side and are in survivorship. That was a really tricky time for me and my wife. A lot of PTSD. You just go off the rails in a lot of ways trying to get back to living, and so we do these wellness retreats for young people and their survivors and their spouses.
Good on you. Yeah, and I see there's a concert. Is this an annual or a semi-annual?
Yes, we have an annual benefit that's going to be this year in Philadelphia, but we also are doing what we call the 250K challenge. So we aim to raise $250,000 between now and 11/11, which is when our benefit is. I think we're over 100,000 raised so far. So if you want to learn more about that, you go to dearjackfoundation.org and you can find out more.
That is fantastic. Danielle, before Andrew leaves, do you want to tell him more of your childhood love for him?
Please, I must know that.
Bedroom walls?
No, the 15-year-old inside of me is like dying right now.
Yeah.
Just, thank you for the music, whether it was something corporate, Jack's Mannequin, or Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness. I know I'm not the only one that your music like helps get through those really crappy teenage years and even into your 20s and now into your 30s. But just thank you for what you're doing, and have an amazing show tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, you guys.
He's at Humphrey's. Tickets are still available. You listened to this radio station before you were on it.
That's right. I mean, it was my home station.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
being a South Orange County kid, yeah,
right.
for sure.
So we are giving you this opportunity to say goodbye and also guest DJ. Would I tell me how to do it, Andrew?
So for me, I think like nothing said driving around in my car listening to 91X more than anything by Dramarama.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
The rock of the 90s. Yes. 91X. Thank you, Andrew, brother.
Thank you, Andrew.
91X.